Hey guys, this is Stingray and welcome to the Stingray Christmas Special right here on the CTS-Sports Room. Now obviously with the CTS-Sports Room, we want to thank all of our loyal followers, and if you are seeing this for the first time, give us a like, give us a follow so that we can continue to grow and put out amazing content. Now, over the past year or so, we've had some big-time guests coming on that we will show you here in just a little bit. We've also had a lot of funny moments, and we've also had some heartfelt moments, and we've done just about everything that I can think of except one thing, and I am about to knock that one out of the park right now. So, to kick off the Stingray Christmas Special, the only way I know how to, this is how we kick off the show.
Wonderland, Wonderland, Wonderland. Sleigh bells ring. Are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. A beautiful sight. Oh, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away, here's a bluebird here to stay. Here's a new bird, he's singing a song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. Now in the middle we can build a snowman and pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, are you married? We'll say, no man, but you can do the job when you're in town. Later on we'll conspire as we dream by the fire to face unafraid all the plans that we made, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he's a circus clown. We'll have lots of fun with Mr. Snowman until the other kid is knocking down. When it snows, ain't it thrilling? Though your nose gets a chillin', we'll frolic and play the Eskimo way, walking in a winter wonderland.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, welcome once again to the Stingray Christmas Special. Joey, along with Jacqueline, Tyler, one more Sanchez, and then, of course, way down there at the bottom, we also have Clemson Tom. How is everybody doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. I hope that song wasn't licensed.
Dude, it's fine, man. You got to get into the Christmas spirit, bro.
I don't think YouTube's going to feel the same way when we post that. But, hey, it was a good job, Stingray. I liked it. Jacqueline, what do you think? Clemson Tom, what do you think?
Stingray, I got the Christmas spirit. Thanks, babe.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Tom, you were saying something, but you were muted. What were you saying?
I said Boys to Men called. They're probably going to retire after that. But we're going to get you one of them suits that's got like the double-breasted, that's got like the felt right here. We're going to button you. It's going to be red or green. Get you. Oh man, that was amazing.
Thank you.
Stingray lost so much weight we can double the jacket. Oh, looks so good.
Like the felt that goes down like right here. You know what I'm talking about? Like next year, just wear the jacket, no undershirt.
Oh yeah, that'd work. All right, so real quick, I have a couple of montages of some people that we've had on the CTS, and I think what we will do is start with what I would like to call the comedian in the room, Clemson Tom. So here are a couple of his most
let's check them out. I'm interested.
Moments from this past year.
Let's see them.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there. No one really sees you there because your YouTube channel's trash. You got your boy begging me, pleading, texting me. It's like 3 a.m. Apparently he has a night job. Real people have 9 to 5s or whatever you want to call them, the daytime. I'm sleeping. Let me sleep. Also, can someone get him some clippers? His beard is weird. I mean, look, it's gaps. It honestly, it looks like Georgia's defense. All you gotta do is throw it deep, hit the gaps. It's like zone coverage out there. That actually should probably be your name for your beard, is this zone coverage, because it's just gaps everywhere. It's. Would you say his beard is about as bad as Vanderbilt football? Because it pretty much is. So I'm coming on to the CTS, CBS, CBS Superstore. I'm coming on. We're going to talk a little bit about Clemson. We're going to talk a little bit about everything. But for once, the daggum once, and this YouTube channel stratosphere that you guys, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be fun. Finally, got somebody good looking on there. Have you seen the rest of your kids? It's what we do around this house. We have pit bulls, we drive trucks, and we drink the good. You understand what I'm trying to say? You probably can't even afford that. I don't even want to tell you what it is because you probably have to Google it and look it up and like, holy crap, that's my trailer payment. Tune in whatever night they tell you to tune it into. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be there raising hell, taking names, and finally going to make this thing what it should be. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Drake said it best. I'm just here to prove a point. All right, I gotta go. I actually have to do. I don't like you idiots.
Who is, in both of your opinions, the best wrestler all time?
Oh, hands down, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay, see,
you're
stupid.
Dummy over here is probably go all cliche and be like Hulk Hogan or something like that.
Yes,
literally the worst.
Hulk Hogan.
Worst wrestler. No one even likes him.
Everybody likes Hulk Hogan. He is professional wrestling.
No, he is not.
Yes, he is.
Excuse me.
What's going on?
No, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
It's not Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve
Austin.
Austin.
So he has a great marketing team. And I'll give him this. He's great at negotiating his contracts. Hang on now. You want to sit there and run your little trap, all right? Little Hulkster. All right. How's it? You getting all I hope you took your vitamins there, brother. Listen up, kid. So he's great at his marketing. He's great at his contract negotiations because he would say, I don't want to lose, or I don't want to do this.
Whoa.
Okay, so congratulations.
All the championship.
He wrote it in his contract that he couldn't lose if he didn't want to. He's not good for the business. He is not. It's not so, bro. All those wrestlers don't even like him because he's a.
Who gives a what? He won championship.
Oh, because he said he had to win.
Hulk Hogan, Frank
he
Guy,
didn't legitimately win anything.
Andre the Giant.
He didn't win anything
of all time.
He didn't win anything.
At the top 5, you could argue who's the number 5. Could it be Stone Cold Steve Austin? Could it be The Rock? Could it be Ric Flair? Could it be Buddy Rogers? Could it be Gorgeous George? It could be a lot of other people.
I could tell you. And Hulk Hogan wasn't even that good of a wrestler.
Frank Guy.
He wasn't even that good of a wrestler. His matches lasted like 5 or 10 minutes long. You look at Ric Flair. Ric Flair, his whole matches would go for like 30 to 45 minutes.
You must be high.
That's all I hear. It's like a hamster on a wheel.
I guess you're gonna say Clemson. I guess you're gonna say Clemson's the greatest football team of all time in college football.
No, you win 2 national championships, and all of a sudden now you're a powerhouse. Get out of here. I mean, no. You after this season, you're probably never going to win another national championship ever again.
Okay. Can you actually answer the question in English? Because we don't speak dumbass on the show, and apparently that's all you're talking on that.
I don't think Joey's married to anybody. Look at that. He wears a hat and sunglasses indoors, and he bought $20 blinds from like Big Lots. Look at
Those
it.
blinds are $100. I'm not.
You got ripped off.
I'm not going to tell you again.
You got ripped off.
Those blinds were $100.
Who told you that? Dan Wilkin with his lies.
You know, when he comes on, he's going to probably.
I'm going to be nice because my main man right here, Stingray, is trying to get a real job in the media. So I'm gonna be a little nice until he comes on. I'm not gonna be nice until he comes on, but no promises. I might go a little bit.
When he comes on, he goes. Man, shut up.
I saw that same hat at a truck stop. Quit being poor. Invest in yourself. We need a new hat though, for real, man. This shit looks old as. Can I send you a hat? Like, come on, man. Go to Fanatics and buy a new hat.
We don't even have a Fanatics here.
It's online, Sting. They ship it to you. It's crazy. I need you to invest in this store called Amazon, man. You're going to make a killing. They ship things to you. It can be there in one day, man.
All right.
Is there an L? I thought it was Woken. Dan Woken, but it's Woken.
It's Woken.
I thought it was woke. Like you're
the first person to make that joke. That's a good one.
No, I'm not going to be the first person to stop making the joke. So that way.
With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we got the one and only Dan Woken.
Woken, yeah, you got it.
Okay. With that said,
can you change it? Can you change your Twitter to @Jabroni?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are out.
So once again, there is a little montage of Clemson Tom. And Tom, let me just go ahead and say those were awesome. So congratulations. But I've got to ask you real quick, since you've been on here, what has been your most favorite moment being on the CTS Sports Room?
Honestly, it's probably the stuff that we do like pre-show or after show when you and I just rag on Joey.
Yes.
I mean, that's honestly the best. Like some of those are from either the pre-show or the after show when we're just kind of hanging out. But yeah, Joey, you should really invest in yourself, buddy. That's just a life lesson. And I still need your address because I will send you some new blinds for Christmas.
Joey, what you got to say
Merry
about that?
Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too, you asshole.
Yeah. I didn't know you. I didn't think you you celebrated Christmas.
Well, I got you. Well, guys,
What do you think I was, Buddhist?
Huh?
Hey, hold on. What do you think I was, Buddhist?
Did I think you were a Buddhist? No, I didn't think you were
did I
real.
stutter?
Because I didn't think you're a real person, and I haven't met you because there's no way you're still gonna wear that cheap ass hat inside with sunglasses and those cheap ass blinds. Like you're not real. You're a figment of my imagination. Like I'm gonna wake up tomorrow.
That hairline was a figment
like,
of
where's
my
Joey?
imagination.
Like, don't worry, that was fake. Like there's literally no way you're this dumb either. Like it's all like a game. Like I'm stuck in the Matrix. Like I'm just waiting for it to end.
Well, guys, real quick, let's go on to the next montage that I've got. And it's actually of someone who actually is fairly new, but has done a little bit of everything for the show. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the montage of the very beautiful Jacqueline Phillips.
However, I am excited about having our next guest on. He's not afraid to jump into hard topics like cheating, PTSD. She has a how-to-do book out right now that you can get on Amazon.com. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, the one and the only Jacqueline Phillips. Jacqueline, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. It's quite nice in Phoenix, Arizona right now.
Yeah, in January, but try to live there in July.
You just wear less clothing.
Yeah, I saw some of your Instagram photos of you in the bikini cutting grass, and I'm begging my wife to do that. All right, so you have a new book called Comfortably Uncomfortable. Tell us about it.
So basically, it is a culmination of 4 years of hard work, and it is my magnum opus. It is the story of how I went from being a miserable, self-sabotaging piece of shit to a happy, enlivened, loving, caring, here to make the world a better place and give you a high five on the way. And it tells you, my instances and my experiences and the different therapies and modalities that I used, different resources that I had, different medications that I tried, where I stumbled, how I got back up, and that you can do it too, that it's not beyond the reach of anyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3rd and 3. Stingray, what's up?
We actually have a new guest and segment on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, the very talented and very beautiful, I might add, Jacqueline Phillips. Jacqueline, how are you doing tonight, darling?
Doing great. How are y'all doing tonight?
Good.
Good, Jacqueline. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. How you doing?
Sorry, I'm stretching. I got Dan Wolken coming on later. Never know what might pop off.
Stingray, how you doing, babe?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Can I come be a mermaid in your ocean?
Welcome to the show.
So can I come be a mermaid in your ocean?
Sure. Yeah, that'll work.
In NFL news, Joey, man, I'm sorry. Your Falcons suck.
Hey.
That's all it is. Back to you, Stingray.
What the hell was that about the Falcons? Hey, first of all, Jacqueline, you can't be talking about my Falcons that way.
We needed Jacqueline to be. She wasn't sexy enough.
What the
you want her to do, Sting? Being a brawl?
I mean,
Sting, we want her classy, man. She did exactly what I want her to do.
Okay.
This ain't Auburn, Sting.
Well, she ain't gonna come on with an off pole.
This ain't LSU.
God, she's a married woman with a son.
She's got kids, Steven.
Okay.
That's gonna go on the show too, by the way. I'm gonna lie to you.
As usual, guys, we always love to have fun on this show. But once again, we really do really appreciate everything Jacqueline has brought here to the CTS. And real quick, Jacqueline, going ahead and let everybody know about the new show that you are actually about to debut coming up in the new year.
Well, hang on, Stingray. Let's put a little sexy on it.
That's awesome.
So coming in January, we have criminal athletes. Yes, Clemson Tom.
No,
do we need to have a flex competition again?
We can get it all day, baby.
I know, I missed it.
You want to check the packs? We can do the packs if you
is
want.
coming in January, where we will chronicle athletes who have found themselves in the wrong side of the law. Our first episode will actually be with Oscar Pistorius. Another episode will be Chris Benoit, and more recently, even Philip Adams. So look forward to that coming in January. It's the perfect show for you who love sports and your true crime-loving girlfriend.
Awesome. Well, guys, let's go on ahead real quick, and we actually have our first guest down there who is waiting in the wings. So let's go on ahead and turn it over to Sanchez and to Clemson Tom to please go on ahead and introduce our first guest and take it away, guys, so that we can get to the sports information director up there at Clemson. Tom, take it away, my friend.
All right. I still can't believe we still got Tim Bourret. Tim, we nicknamed him Clemson Google in the Clemson world. He'll tweet out some like random fact. It'll be like January 5th was the same day that's blah, blah, blah happened and the degrees were the same and Jordan hit a three-pointer. Like, what? Where do you come up with this stuff? Tim he's an encyclopedia when it comes to Clemson, when it comes to any kind of sports information. So to have him on the show is awesome, obviously. I'm pretty excited to have him. There he is. Tim, welcome, brother.
How we doing? Good to see you.
Doing good. I think Sting's messing with the layout and everything. So it's for the first time in a long time, things are, I guess you could say, uneasy or different when it comes to the Clemson this offseason. And I know Dabo just named the new OC, the new DC. And honestly, I mean, as you probably know through just being there, there's a lot of fans. I wouldn't say it's uneasiness, but I think it's a sense of not so sure of next year. And as of late, it's been like we're reloading. We know who's coming back. We know we're going to probably be in the playoffs. We're going to beat the Gamecocks as usual. But I'm honestly more excited now than I've been in years. I mean, even when knowing we had Trevor Lawrence coming or we got Deshaun, I guess it's the restless unknown of what's coming into the season. So I really wanted you to talk about the new offensive coordinator, the new defensive coordinator they got going, and all the changes that, as a fan base, we haven't had to experience in 10 years. So, I mean, what's it like up there now?
No, you're 100% right. There is certainly a lot of change. And it's been a while since, we lost both coordinators at the same time, like 1996. But anyway, Dabo has faith in these guys who have been around the program. I guess we had the same feelings on the other side of the ball when Chad Morris left. How are we going to function without Chad Morris calling the plays? And of course, he moved Tony and Jeff Scott into the coordinator roles, and we did nothing but got better with Tony. And we went 89-10 in the games that Tony was here calling the plays. I guess technically 89-9 because he had COVID in the Ohio State game and was not there. But I think the fan base should have faith in Brandon Streeter. He's been with the program in every meeting and seeing how things have run since 2014 when Chad Morris left. Now, on the other side of the ball, obviously, it's a little bit of a different change, moving someone up to be coordinator who has not been one of the 9 or 10 full-time assistant coaches. That's certainly a rare move, but on the inside in that building, all the coaches know, Wesley Goodwin is a guy who basically has a photographic mind and has been somebody who has been right on the inside of everything the last few years with Brent Venables. Brent would have taken him with him, maybe even to be his coordinator at Oklahoma if we did not, keep him. So I've talked to a lot of the coaches at Clemson, and Woody McCorvey, of course, has known Wesley since 2008 when he was a GA. He actually walked into Woody's office cold in 2008, right after they first got there, and told him he wanted to help out. And they gave him a project to do, and he did it like 100 times better than they thought anybody could do it. And he impressed Sylvester Kroom. And, from then on, Woody was sold on him. And he had a great experience working for the Arizona Cardinals under Coach Arians for 3 years also.
I don't know how you remember all that stuff, man. Yeah, you're. That's why we call you Clemson Google. So all day today, I've been thinking about what I'm going to ask you, and from the fans' perspective, doing my videos, I've always nicknamed some of the key guys on defense, and so we had Spencer Shuey, who I nicknamed the Bull Shark, Ben Boulware, the Junkyard Dog, and since I had a family and everything else, I quit doing the videos, and I never got a nickname for Skowski. And those three guys, if you could just put those guys together and make one linebacker, it would probably be Ray Lewis. But what would be the nickname that you would give Skowski if the nickname trend continued for the middle linebacker?
Well, I would have to say he's in fact, I talked to Ben Boulware on the radio. We interviewed him before one of the games this year, and I said when we watched Skalski, we're watching the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th years of Ben Boulware. So if you called them the Junkyard Dogs, I guess he would be an extension of that. He'd be Junkyard Dog 2. But he is, he has been such an important part of our defense for so long. He didn't come in very highly recruited, but he just had a sixth sense for everything that happened, with the defense. And he's been a great part of our program for a very long time. And I still remember my 2016 season when we won the national championship in midseason. I came in to the office one Friday afternoon, and I had set up some interviews for Coach Sweeney, and everything got changed. And I didn't really know what was going on, but the problem was that James's father had passed away that afternoon suddenly of a heart attack. And so I got to see, Dabo and Coach Venables kind of change their roles as coaches and go into fathers to try to help him through that, because it was a very difficult, situation. But, Skalski, I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see him back in some kind of coaching capacity later on.
I have a question now. You broadcast over 1,000 games. Do you still remember your very first one that you did?
Yeah, actually, it's a good story. So the first basketball game I ever did, and was also the first event I did. I had done a couple games at Notre Dame when I was a student, but I was doing color on the basketball game out in the at UTEP, and we were playing in a basketball tournament, and it was the same night that Clemson was playing Ohio State in the Gator Bowl. So I didn't go. I was with the basketball. My priority was with basketball my first couple of years. So we're playing Texas Tech in basketball in a very close game. It comes down to coming down to the wire. The football game is kind of coming to the end with the time zone difference way out in Texas. So we're in a timeout, and the guy back in Greenville all of a sudden just blurts out to us over our headset, "He hit him. He punched him. He hit him. I can't believe it." And Jim Phillips and I don't have a monitor. We have no idea what's going on. We're saying, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Woody Hayes just punched Charlie Ballman." I said, "What?" And so this was all going on while we're getting ready to broadcast the end of the basketball game. Derek Johnson actually hit a shot with a couple seconds left, and we won the basketball game and went on and won that tournament. So that was kind of a memorable first broadcast that I ever did.
And what was the number one thing you learned from Mr. Bradley?
I'd say, I learned a lot from Mr. Bradley. I was very fortunate to work for him, but he always felt, your credibility is your most important asset in being a sports information director, and that carried over whether you were promoting somebody for All-American. He always said, don't promote somebody for All-American who really isn't deserving. Just don't throw somebody up there every year, because you want to have credibility as you go. Say a guy's really a good player, that he really is, and so that they'll believe you. But that was in everything that you did. Your credibility, what you told the media about a situation, was going to be your most important asset, and I've certainly tried to carry that on.
That's a good story.
Tim, I'm sure you've got some funny stories from something just behind the scenes. I know we all kind of, especially with Clemson being such a small fan base or a small community, I guess I should say. What's one of what's a really funny just Dabo story or Venables or just anything around just with the football program that just always sticks out?
Oh, I'd say there were a couple with with Coach Ford. One that always stuck with me is in 1982. You might remember we were going to play Wake Forest over in Japan. And this was a big deal for all the media in Japan. But they were famous for the spring before. We were playing that game in the end of November of 1982. But sometimes their media would just show up all the way from Japan. So one day there was like 6 of them showed up in the office, and Mr. Bradley wasn't there. So I had to kind of run interference. And fortunately, Coach Ford was in his office. So I went down to Coach Ford's office and said, Coach, there's these 6 people from Japanese media that showed up. I had no idea they were coming. Mr. Bradley, I'm sure, didn't know they were coming. Do you have some time to spend with them? And of course, Coach was, well, yeah, they came all the way from Japan. I need to make time for them. So I bring the 6 people down in the office. They all sit down in Coach's office and in Jervy, and they're not saying anything. And so Coach Ford looked up to me and he said, do I have to speak Japanese? And he was serious. And I thought to myself, Coach, you can barely speak English, so I'm not sure we're going to be able to work that out today. But yeah, Coach Ford was certainly a lot of fun to be with.
Gotcha. We actually have an audience question that just came in. Spencer wants to know if you have ever announced a game with Spencer Gold.
You mean Eli Gold?
Eli Gold.
Alabama? Yeah, Alabama.
Gold,
no, of course, I met him at all the Alabama games and, gave him information and worked with him, in pregame and helping him with his preparation for the broadcast. But no, I never have broadcast a game with Eli Gold.
Gotcha.
He's a great announcer, by the way. Got a great voice and really a good guy.
I don't like anything Alabama, unfortunately. I have to go with everything Clemson with that. Now, I'm assuming you're coming down to Orlando for the Cheez-It Bowl, correct? What are the chances?
I'll be doing the game with Don Munson. Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to take Don over Eli when it comes to the announcing. But are you going to be coming to the official pre-bowl party the night before that we've got set up with the Alumni Corporation?
I don't know. I don't know my plans the night before yet. Jill Mickle is one of the people who helps run the bowl down there, and she was one of my student assistants. So going to try to see her and see what she's going to have going on the night before. So
if you need a restaurant recommendation, just hit me up on Twitter.
Okay.
Here in Orlando, I'm a foodie. I can tell you the best steakhouses.
Okay.
Whatever you need, Tim, I got you. I might just get you a VIP table somewhere.
Well, I tell you, Don Munson usually kind of handles that aspects of things. He's good at that also. As is Sanford Rogers, my buddy, also who is our spotter on the radio network at also. So we try to get some good restaurants.
Gotcha.
On trips.
Yeah, tell Don to text me if he needs a restaurant. I got a few good, really really good steakhouses here that are kind of off the. They're not off the beaten path, but they're rarely talked about because you don't want everybody to know about it.
Okay.
But the good stuff. Now, the Cheez-It Bowl, we're playing Iowa State. I know nothing of Iowa State except for they got a great wrestling team. I mean, I went there as a kid when I wrestled coming up through the ranks. And I think I was there with Kenny Monday and Dan
Gable.
Gable was also there. So as a kid, knowing who they were, taking lessons from those guys was phenomenal. What can we expect from Iowa State? Because I don't know anything about Iowa State at all.
Well, they got a really good running back who was one of the first team AP All-Americans. They've got a diverse offense that averages over 200 yards a game rushing and 200 yards a game passing. And if you're a Clemson fan who's listened to me on the radio over the years, you know that Clemson has never lost a game in which it's had at least 200 yards rushing and 200 yards passing in the same game. I don't know what Iowa State's all-time record is in that statistic, but the one stat that shocked me is they actually lead the Big 12 in passing yards per game, even though they have the first team All-American running back. So they have a very balanced offense. It's going to be a big challenge for our new defensive staff. Defensively, they're pretty good. They are solid. I think they're in the top 25 in total defense. They are 7-5. They lost a couple of very close games, but I do believe they beat Oklahoma State which was their only regular season loss prior to the conference championship. So I do find it interesting that I looked at the spread earlier today, and Iowa State's actually favored in the game by 1.5. I'm sure the smart guys in Vegas are figuring that since we lost both of our coordinators, that there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period. But I guess we were the heavy underdogs the last time we played, 2014 against Oklahoma, and we won 40-6. So it'll be interesting to see.
Now, what do you think obviously I'm assuming you're going to pick Clemson, but what's your final score for that game before Stingray brings it back?
I'll say 24-17 Clemson. I think it will be a close game. I do think Iowa State's a good team. You look at the preseason poll, both of us were in the top 10 in the preseason poll, but I know Coach Campbell is a very good coach at Iowa State, and so I think it's going to be a good game.
Awesome. Well, Tim, thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, I mean, you're royalty when it comes to Clemson. Everyone on social media calls you Clemson Google. You've got more stats than anyone even knows. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. You're an inspiration. I love following you on Twitter as well, and I'm sure Steve's got some stuff for you as we move it on.
Sounds great. Great to be with you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Well, we really want to thank Clemson Tom and Sanchez for doing that interview. And currently, right now, we also are going to move to the Alabama and the Auburn portion. So, Tom, thank you once again. Now, Joey, going ahead and join me, buddy, so that we can discuss who we are actually about to introduce. Joey and, of course, Jacqueline are about to interview A.C. Carter from Alabama and Mario Fannin from Auburn. So, Joey, my sidekick buddy, take it away, my friend.
Well, thank you, Stingray. Let me go ahead and change the view right here, because people don't want to look at me; they want to look at Jacqueline. Jacqueline, how you doing today?
Oh, it's actually cold today, so I may put that jacket back on. But we're drinking, so we're kind of warm.
Okay. Or jacket.
That's how I got through that montage that Stingray made for me.
It was a lovely montage. It makes me feel. So why don't you go ahead and introduce our next guest right now?
Absolutely. So, gentlemen, and the few ladies besides myself, I would like to introduce a man who is not afraid to enter the Crimson Tide Lions' den, the 2010 national champion running back of the Auburn Tigers, Mario Fannin. Mario, how are you?
What he was trying to say is, I don't know if the audience heard you, but a man that is not afraid to step into the Lions' den, ladies and gentlemen, 2010 national champion, Mario Fannin. How you doing, Mario?
How y'all doing? I'm sorry about that.
Oh, we got to turn you up a little bit. Here we go. Say, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, I can't. But while we talk about fix his volume, let's introduce the man, the legend, SEC national champion, A.C. Carter. Antonio, how you doing, sir?
How you doing, bro? Thank you guys for having me.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
I can't wait. So, Jacqueline, let's go ahead and start us off with some questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Antonio, you made a choice for Alabama. Why did your heart follow you to Alabama?
I got out the back door of them Seminoles, from Tallahassee. But, Coach Mike Dubose, Dabo Sweeney recruited me. I knew I had an opportunity to play right away. They graduated a few receivers. So I knew I went in and worked my tail off that I could earn a spot. And so, when they told me that, and everyone else wanted me to play defensive back, I was an offensive guy. I wanted the ball in my hands. So when they opened that door as well, so that's why I chose Alabama. And the fans are unbelievable. Ain't nothing like the Tide fans. So I went to a game at Bryant Denny. It was rocking. I couldn't turn it away.
So now you played during a difficult time for Alabama. You mentioned the fans. How much did those fans carry you through that time?
Oh man, our fans. I'm serious. I haven't met a fan that's a bandwagon. A diehard Bama fan is a diehard Bama fan. So the same fans that I do, I still talk to fans that I met when I went in '98 on my visit, and as a player from '99 to '02. I mean, so the fans are unreal. I love them to death, and everywhere I go, you still get some that greet you with the Roll Tide, and they recognize you. But those, I see one in Walmart with a Bama shirt on, I say Roll Tide, I get it back. So the fans are unreal. I'm so thankful for the Bama fans.
Now, Mario, do we have you this time?
Can you hear me? Is that better?
Yes, sir. That's better.
Perfect.
All right. So, Mario, my question for you: you're from Lovejoy, Georgia, and schools were hounding you from Georgia to, play, as well as others, and they were doing it aggressively. But when it came time, what made you choose Auburn?
My visit, when I went out there, it was something that felt like home, and that's something big for me. Plus, that was close to where my parents could come see me play ball every day, well, every Saturday. So that was another plus to it. But I mean, it was a great university. They had the program that I wanted to do out of high school. And the coaches there, sold me on the education part, not just the football aspect. I was blessed to be the first person in my family to graduate from a university, and so I wanted that to be from Auburn.
Well, as a mom, I appreciate the fact that you wanted to stay close to yours. So, unfortunately, for most Alabama fans, you were playing for Auburn at just the right time. Tell me, what's it like to win a national championship? Because it's got to be better than working with these guys.
It's a I don't know how to explain it. It's a great feeling. It's a big accomplishment. I know when my whole class came in 2006, that was something that we had on our goal list, was to be able to go to a national championship, and we got that, that extra piece we needed to take it over the edge when Cam came to us, and so it was a blessing in disguise, honestly. I mean, we knew what we wanted, but we didn't know it would happen, and when it finally came, it was just like, wow. It was just one of those, you just got to sit back and enjoy it and take it all in.
Do you still have some of that afterglow?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a big accomplishment. I mean, anywhere I go, that's something that people talk about when they do recognize who I am, because I've gotten a lot older, so I don't look the same. But people that do recognize me and know that I play for Auburn, that's the first thing they bring up, and that's just so big because it's like that's part of the tradition out there, and also it's a big accomplishment for us to be able to take Auburn to that I guess chateau of where greats have been before.
Well, Mario, I want to go back. Hold on one second. They had to wait till I go live to do anything. That's kids for you. Mario, I want to go back to that 2010 season.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that, y'all. I got kids. Let's go back to that 2010 season. Gene Chizik. With the stuff going on with LSU, and you've seen coaches get fired left and right. Gene Chizik won you a national championship. I mean, coach a national championship team, but of course was fired 2 seasons later. You played under Gene Chizik. Do you think it was justified for him to get fired?
That's something that us as players, we don't really get into. That's something that we just try to make sure we're playing as hard as we can for whatever coach just chooses to coach us. So I wouldn't say that was something that I ever thought about when it came to that I think it was justified or not. I think he came in and did a great job for us. I mean, we played in a national championship game, and not even a year later they were back in another championship game. So I mean, I think he recruited well. I think he was a good coach, honestly.
Sorry about that. We got chaos in the household. With that said, you know, I'm going to you, Antonio. What was it like
Talk to me.
playing? What was it like playing under head coach Mike DeBose?
Man, it was awesome. You know, Dubos was a defensive guy, so I didn't have too many dealings with him. But you know, it was awesome. You got different Bama fans say different things about him, but as a player, I'm appreciative of him. I'm thankful for him. He recruited me, and I mean, he's always been not only just a great coach, but a good friend. And you know, we stay in contact now, and so I think Coach Dubos, he did a great job when he was there with us. He took care of us. You know, I never had any issues, but I think he did a great job. I don't have. I'm gonna just go back a little bit. Personal, off the field, you know, that's not my job as a coach. I'm not mean as a player to judge or to put him in. He treated me fairly. He treated the guys fairly. When it came to football, he kept that separate. I mean, we had no idea what he had going on. So I mean, um, I'm not a judge or to judge anyone. So I'm thankful for Coach Dubose.
Well, both of y'all are very good players. I mean, I watched both of y'all. What what did the rivalry of Auburn and Alabama mean to both of y'all?
What's the rivalry like?
Yeah, for you and Mario. Mario, because you played in a very historic Iron
Hey,
Bowl.
I don't want to say this on camera, man. Don't put me in that position. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, it's real.
Yeah.
We don't eat, we don't sleep. It's Iron Bowl week. But man, it's awesome. You know, it's always fun to play that game.
Yeah.
But it's about the fans. My job and as players to go out there and give the fans the best, our best. And so it's always fun. It's another game, but it got a little bite to it because they're down the road from us. But hey, it's another game.
Yeah. No, we.
What about you, Mario?
I can honestly say I remember playing in my first Iron Bowl game, and that was like that's a different feeling right there. It's electric. I mean, you feel the fans in the in the stadium and outside the stadium. It's a different mentality that you go into that game with, and it was always fun to play. But afterwards you're a little sore afterwards because you're throwing your body around, you doing whatever you can because every play matters in that game. So it's one of the most exciting games you can play in college football. I don't think it's any other rivalry like it, honestly.
Well, we got two questions from one fan. Are you keeping the ring shiny? And how do you feel about the NIL for both of you guys?
Well, the NIL, I mean, I think it's a fair deal. Those guys have earned it. Me personally going into it when I first heard about it, my thing was, would it divide the team? Uh, this guy getting this amount, this guy don't get anything, So, Coach Saban and the Coach Sweeney's and all these different coaches just maintaining and keeping those guys focused on we're still a team. And it's like anything else. Everyone ain't gonna get, Bryce Young gonna get treated a little different than the backup quarterback. So that's just the way it go. So that was my mindset that I just prayed that it didn't divide the locker room. And from my understanding, it hasn't. The guys are from. I haven't heard any negative. I'm just speaking from the Alabama side of it. I think those guys are doing a great job of handling it. I think Coach Saban and the staff is doing a great job of keeping those guys focused on the main goal, and it's getting your education at the end of the day. Me personally, I think it's really good for the guys. They deserve it. They earned it. They are there. I mean, the universities and they make a lot of money off of those young men. But at the end of the day, they are student athletes. But I think they do earn a little compensation for what they do on the field.
I agree with him. I think it's a great idea that they came out with that. It's also in a way kind of getting them ready for that next level as well. So when they get to that next level, they know about that side of the business as well. In college, when I was playing and when he was playing, we didn't really think about that. We just thought about we wanted to play hard, play good, so that we can have an opportunity to get to that next level, to get these type of situations that most are getting now early on in their college careers. So um, I think that it's smart. I think that I hope that some of them are taking advantage of looking at, or their parents are talking to them about money management and how to deal with certain type of aspects like this, so that they're not getting taken advantage of, and also they're looking at it from a business base, not just the brand itself, who they are. So I think it's a great idea. It's opening them up to what's to come, and hopefully they're just managing everything the right way.
Oh, that's
We
very
actually
good
had a
answer.
follow-up
Jacqueline got some
question.
questions.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
absolutely.
ahead,
So we had
Jacqueline.
a follow-up question. How would you control the NIL?
Repeat that. I'm sorry.
How would you control the NIL?
It's a great question.
Yeah, I
And
don't know.
really, I don't know enough about it.
Mhm.
Man, I would be considered like all the guys down there now. They call me an old head. So I couldn't. I really don't know much about it. Like I said, I don't know how it works. I don't know how they go about getting the deals. If they got agents, I really don't know. So I don't know enough about it to answer that question. But again, I will say those guys, they do earn some compensation. So if if Snicker Bar want to give me a deal, and I'm like, hey, yeah, let's go. You know, so I mean, again, I don't really know how it worked, but I think those guys deserve it.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's something that they should make you privy to while you're playing?
Repeat that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I said, do you think that's something that they should make privy to you? Should they disclose that to you so that you can participate more?
Yes, I think they should disclose it. I mean, they should let them know. One thing I would do, I would kind of put it on the back end, and when their career is done playing, whether it's injury, whether they graduate, whether they go to the NFL or not, that can be starter money to whether they're gonna be husbands and fathers and one day. So I
Fine.
think it can be a package to where, hey, I signed a $800 deal with Snicker Bar. Okay, that 800,000, I know I'm gonna get when I'm done playing, when my career is over. Whether it's through injury, graduation, I do get a chance to play in the NFL. I mean, it's just a compensation package to where when I'm done, it can open doors and start a good resource for me to start my life
Exactly.
as an
So
adult.
Mario, what's your take on that?
I definitely 100% agree with that. You know, young kids, when they get a lot of money in their hands, they like to have fun with it, and that's the biggest thing that I was talking about, money management. And if they are signing, if they're signing those type of deals, that's a lot of money for a 20-year-old. That's they would go out and spend a lot of that money instead of investing it. But who's to say they don't know that now? It's a different time. You have crypto, you have other aspects that more younger parties are learning about. So I definitely think that maybe each college could have like maybe a financial advisor to kind of help these players, learn about different aspects of investments, and learning how to put that money away and have it, later on for real estate investments and things of that nature. So I totally agree with them.
Well, I want to talk about Antonio Carter for a second about his senior year. What was it like when you caught that 80-yard touchdown against UCLA?
That
I
was
know it was
awesome.
another day at the office. I know you probably don't remember, but for me, it was a highlight.
Man, that was a great moment. At one point, it was the longest touchdown in Bryant Denny. Them guys they done went backwards over that now. Them guys, but it was awesome. It was amazing. Just to be in that game. Again, to play in Bryant Denny was a wonderful opportunity. But man, it was a great feeling. I'll never forget it.
Mario, what was the biggest highlight at Auburn for you? I mean, what was a play that stuck out?
To this day, I feel like the best game I ever played at Auburn was when we played UGA. I think it was like 2007 or something like that. And I mean, that was, I don't know, I was playing on a different level of that game. The team was playing on a whole different level of that game. It was just, I don't know, that was the funnest game that I remember playing, in Auburn after all these years, other than the national championship game.
But that refreshes my memory right there. You got Tommy Tuberville, and who's a historic coach by himself, and then you got Gene Chizik. What was the differences between Gene Chizik and Tommy Tuberville?
Tuberville was just one of those guys to where he wanted you to line up and play hard. Hat guy type of guy. Like he was very old school. You're gonna wear pads 7 days a week. It's just he's just that type of guy. Whereas Coach Chizik, he came in and he kind of tried to teach us about taking care of our bodies more and practicing hard and also taking the time to understand that this still is practice. So he kind of brought a different element when it comes to the physical side of it. But both great coaches. Me and Coach Tubbs, I love Coach Tubbs. He's a good guy, and even Coach Chiz, I love him too. We was out there for the 2010 National Championship recognition. Since COVID been going on, we never got to do it at the time. We were supposed to do it at 10 years, but I got a chance to sit down with him. I haven't talked to him in a while, and just talking to him, he's a great coach.
I gotta ask both of y'all. One thing that comes to mind with you, Antonio, why Florida State was some place that you was really highly recruited. What made you say no to Florida State?
I'm sorry. Repeat that.
Florida State was a school that you was highly recruited. Your hometown was Tallahassee. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, man, it was. I was a diehard Seminole fan. But again, it was a defensive back. Even though I loved Mickey Andrews at the time, you had guys.
You back? Well, Antonio is trying to get his sound back. We're about to close up anyway. Mario, I got one last question.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing today?
Right now I'm working for DR Horton, man. I'm actually helping build homes and so much fun. My dad actually was doing it and put me, through college when I needed to borrow some money and things of that nature. And was doing insurance, but I moved over to do DR Horton just because it's my dad kind of talked to me and let me know how it was. And I mean, I love it. It's a great job.
All right. Well, that sounds good, man. And before let's go ahead and ask Antonio. Antonio, we know you're in motivational speaking. Tell all the Alabama fans, of course, the Auburn fans watching, what you're doing today.
Tell them again, I'm sorry. One more time, I'm sorry.
Tell all the Alabama and Auburn fans what you're doing today.
Yes, man.
Your
So I am
motivational speaking.
Game Time Ministries, man. I am a motivational speaker, just traveling and motivating young people, telling my Jesus story, letting these young guys know that, it's going to be adversity. Football has taught you adversity, pride, doing things together, working together. I just teach these guys, life going to hit you one day. So I just try to motivate these guys to continue to stay focused. Focus, us as me personally, when you get done playing, it's like, man, that entitlement gone. You think, hey, I played Alabama, I can get what I want, I can do what I want, and life don't work that way. And one of the biggest things, one of the challenges I had was accepting the word N-O, no. What you mean, no? I played Alabama. So I just try to teach and motivate these young men that, hey, it's another way. You got to be able to accept no. You got to stay focused. You got to do the right thing. Be a man of integrity. And then also, my wife and I own a bakery, Burt's Desserts, here in Alabaster,
In
Alabama.
Alabaster.
Yes.
In Alabaster, Alabama.
Yes. And so, man, I'm loving it, man. You know, I've got out of the coaching career, had a great run in coaching, had an opportunity to coach at UTEP, App State, Eastern Michigan, on Coach Saban's staff as a graduate assistant. Spent some time with the Colts, been a high school head coach, and now it's mama time. She done traveled and been with me all over the world. So, man, I'm baking cupcakes. I'm trying my best to stay out of being 400 pounds, but I taste everything come out in the oven.
I love it.
Fellas, thank you
So
so much
come
for
visit
joining us
all you
tonight.
Bama fans. Burt's Desserts, Alabaster, Alabama. Come and see us. We got all your sweet treats.
Well, we appreciate you both joining us tonight, and I just want to take a moment and thank Spencer Rivalry for joining us and giving us lots of great questions and interacting tonight. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. God bless you all.
Same to you guys.
Thank you, Antonio. Thank you, Mario.
Thank you, Mario.
All right, now.
Well, Jacqueline, that was fun.
So we're going to go visit that bakery, right? Because I got a sweet
Oh,
tooth.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm down. Let's go.
Well, let's go ahead and take it back to Stingray. And Jacqueline, it was good working with you.
Always good.
Hey, one more thing before we go. That interview. Tell the story about that first interview that you and me did maybe like a year ago.
So when I was promoting a book that I had written, I got a message from Joey inviting me to the CTS interview room for the Sunday interview. And I thought, why in the hell does this guy want me on his show?
To answer that question, I was going into an avenue where I was getting away from sports and I wanted to move into serious stuff, but it didn't work out. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it didn't work out. And the entire time I kept thinking, why does he want to interview me? Like it's a self-help book. Like it's not a Playboy model. It's not a comedian. I mean, I'm a little funny and a little sexy, but not enough to make the bills get paid. So needless to say, we had an awkward interview, kind of like a dry hand job. And a year later, here we
Because when people see the edit version, you should just because she felt awkward, I felt awkward. I didn't know how to open up to this person because, like I said, the self-help book was a book about very serious topics, and I'm a clown,
which you still haven't read.
I read the back of
the back cover.
I did buy it. I just didn't read all of it. I read the back, but we started off very awkward, but out of that came a very lovely friendship. And I look up to you like a big sister, and honestly, I consider you one of my best friends, and I thank you for being part of the CTS. But
I appreciate you believing in me, and I'm really excited for my true crime sports show, Criminal Athletes, coming this January.
Well, with that said, I see Stingray getting fed up. He wants to hit on you. I mean, he wants to come back on. So let's go ahead and turn it back to Stingray. What's up, Sting? What's up?
What's up, man? You doing okay?
Yes, sir. Well, it's time for you and Tyler. So
that's
take
right.
Me off the screen.
Wait 1 second.
What's up?
Preston is going to be about 10 minutes late. So I'm going to go on ahead and play the montage that I have of some of the biggest guests that we've had in the year 2021 here on the CTS. So we're going to play that, and then we're going to go right into the interview there with Preston Guy.
Hey, look at that. I love Joey's Bama heart, but he can be an ass. You know what, Spencer? You should see me like in real life. But I love you, Spencer. Go ahead.
All right, guys. So without further ado, here is a montage of some of our biggest guests over this past year right here on the CTS interview room and CTS Sports. before you got into comedy? What was your track then?
Oh, I wanted to be a professional baseball player.
Okay.
But I missed, it was, thank you, dear. I'm missing two things. I couldn't hit the long ball and I couldn't hit the fastball. So that kind of X'd me out of that one real quick. But, when my wife and I moved to LA, I thought, well, I wanted to be an actor. I always wanted to be an actor. I'd watch John Wayne movies and, with my dad at the drive-in. But I was so stupid. When we moved to LA, I thought if you wanted to be an actor, you just called yourself an actor. You didn't have to go to any kind of craft school or learn how to do it. And funny story, my wife and I moved out to LA. She was 8 months pregnant. And I got my first audition. I said, hey, read this with me real quick. And she did. And I said, I got it. I'm good. And I found out later that she said after I left the house, she went out on the back porch and just started crying. And I said, why'd you start crying? She goes, because I was 8 months pregnant. We were renting a house we couldn't afford. I missed my family, and you couldn't act your way out of a paper bag. So in her little sweet way, she got me to go on, take some acting lessons, and at least get a little better than the paper bag.
Is there a chance in maybe hypothetically, I know you hate it, but Jesse Ventura, Bret Hart, Vince Russo, Honky Tonk Man, is it a chance that maybe one day y'all can just bury the hatchet?
With the exception of Vince Russo, I have a lot of respect for Bret Hart in a lot of ways. I have some issues with some of the things he says, not just about me, but I think Bret Hart, as I've said before, it's no secret, Bret Hart is a miserable person and a very unhappy person. I guess they're one and the same. And for whatever reason, burying people or having someone to blame for whatever it is Bret Hart feels he needs to blame someone for is about the only way that Bret can have a conversation. I don't like being around people like that.
All right, so can you please talk us through the most memorable catch that you had down there in Gainesville?
Well, a catch that I had in Gainesville, or a catch that I had playing for the Gators?
While you played down there at Florida.
Well, I mean, the catch that he referenced earlier, the Kentucky catch, is kind of the one that put me on the map. I mean, I went from, that was probably mid to late August to the first week of the season in early September. We play a first home game against some cupcake team. I catch 4 or 5 passes in that game, feeling really good about myself. And then all of a sudden we go to Lexington in week 2. It was September 11th, 1993. And before the game, Coach Spurrier tells me that I'm gonna start. So here I went from being a walk-on to a scholarship guy to starting in a matter of weeks. And then early in the fourth quarter, I catch my first collegiate touchdown pass, and I'm thinking, man, this is the pinnacle of everything that I ever could have dreamt of. Catching a touchdown for my beloved Gators in an SEC game, what could be better than this? And then little did I know I'd have the chance to come back and catch the game winner with 3 seconds left that night. We threw 7 interceptions between Danny Werfel and Terry Dean. Somehow we're still in a position to tie or win the game, and to catch that pass and to have that go down as one of the big plays in Florida football history means a lot to me.
Real quick, let's go back to your early days. What made you ultimately decide to get into the world of professional wrestling?
I was a fan. I was a wrestling fan, and I grew up a wrestling fan. I used to watch it when I was younger, and obviously there was a point where I kind of fell out of the whole, and then I was in my horses and school and boys, and I still would watch wrestling, but it was more of a casual fan. And then the Attitude Era hit, and my fandom just kind of kicked in, and was like, why am I not doing this? Is what I want to do. You say it when you're a kid. There's things you say, I want to do this, I want to do that. But I guess you don't really think it's possible. But even when I was saying, like, God, it'd be so cool to be a wrestler. Like, how do you do that? And it was out of that I found a school and kind of just checked all the boxes and worked my way up until I finally got noticed. But if you would have said to myself then, little girl Mickey James, like, oh, you're going to be a wrestler when you grow up, I would just been like, oh, okay, cool, but I don't think so, because I just thought that they were found at circuses and all these, same place with the bearded lady. I don't know, because they were just so much larger than life to me.
What is the one coach in the history of your career that you dread talking to?
Oh man, let's see.
Mine would be Lane Kiffin.
I want to hear this one.
No, I actually had a love-hate relationship with Bob Knight. He could be as charming as a guy could possibly be, but then the next time you see him can be a complete horse's ass.
You got any Bob Knight stories?
It was I got thrown out of his practice once for just
He's
showing
like,
up.
yeah, I got some. Bob Knight's like that buddy in college, like always got out of line. Like, yeah, I got some stories.
Your SID said that the practice was open, and he says, "Well, it's not. Get the hell out of here." And I was like, I'm still pretty young in the business. I was probably 31 or 32. He's trying to intimidate me like he intimidates his players. And I said, I looked at him and I said, "Coach, why do you think I'd want to stay here? After that, Brando, you just get your ass." And I said, "That's not a problem. You're going to run the same damn crap anyway. I don't learn anything at your practice." And then I walked out.
Did y'all square up after that?
The next night, I was mad. I was hopping mad. I went back to the hotel, and Vital was in the lobby. And, he loved the general. He said, "Timmy B, we got the general in Michigan tomorrow." I'm like, general my ass, okay? He's your general. He's not mine. Hey,
we both love steakhouses. We're going.
Help me out. You're a big Alabama guy, right?
Yes, sir.
No, he is.
Well, then all you need to do, what you found out tonight is, despite what you read on social media, I never hated Alabama. I love Alabama. I think I got some of my best friends are in Alabama. And I can tell you that state, more than any other state, every town in Alabama that has, let's say, 10,000 people in it, maybe even 5, okay? 5 to 10. Every town that's got 5 to 10,000 people in it has a Monday, either lunch club or Monday night club where they bring speakers in.
Yes.
I hit them all in my earliest days. I went to Muscle Shoals. I went to Gadsden. I went to, you name the, I went to every town in Alabama, literally.
Right.
I spoke at them. And the reverence and the love that they have, not just for Alabama football, but all football, and especially all SEC football.
No, not all SEC football.
What?
There's one team we don't.
It's a love-hate thing. You know what I'm saying?
It's not love. I promise you, there's no love.
Yeah, but the passion.
Yes.
I tell people, you're passionate about your team. I'm passionate about the game.
Right.
The sport. And so we have more in common than we don't have in common. Is my point. So you just pass that along to all your Alabama dissenters of Timmy B. Okay, just let them know that we're more alike than not.
They will see it, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only, the legendary, the icon, the man, the myth, the legend, Tim Brando. Tim, this interview right here means a lot to me. I've always wanted to meet you. You've always been one of my favorite broadcasters. You are the sound of college football to me. You are the sound of sports to me. And it was a complete honor for you to come on and talk with us. I will never forget this day. And thank you, Stingray, for making this happen, because this was all Stingray. And I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Will you come back?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I thought I was going to tell you no.
So once again, that is one of our montage of many guests that we have had here on the CTS. And real quick, before we get to the interview with Preston Guy, we do want to send one of our guys on off because he actually has to go to work tomorrow. So Clemson Tom, once again, we really want to thank all that you've done for the CTS. And real quick, before we let you go, is there anything else you would like to say Christmas-wise to anybody here tonight?
Yeah. Thanks for letting me get out of here early. I ate up at 5 a.m.
Yes.
So it's a little late my time. So this is way past my bedtime. Sting, thank you so much for the Bluetooth speaker that you sent us. Xander has adopted it in his room. It is now his. So I don't have a Clemson Bluetooth speaker, but yeah, it's whatever. Jacqueline, thank you so much for always having that Santa hat on and trying to outflex me. But as you learned from last night, my back is a little bit more sculpted. Prove it. Sanchez, we got to go catch a fight. Cousin of mine actually videotapes for the UFC. You just let me know, but his stuff is mostly in Miami. I don't like your sweater. Merry Christmas. Sorry, Tyler.
We love you, Clemson Tom.
It is what it is. And Joey, seriously, if we got to get a pot together to put you some new blinds in, we will. And I'm going to end me going out for the new year as usual with a prayer for Joey. If we could please get his hairline to grow back, baby Jesus. We're going to need him to take his sunglasses off inside. He is not Blade. He is not a vampire, half human. He doesn't need to wear his sunglasses inside. His hairline is receding worse than pretty much the ocean, the sand. It's horrible. Please, baby Jesus, be with his hairline. Let him know it's not cool to wear sunglasses inside. He is not Blade. He is not half vampire, half human. And if someone could just send him, some company out there, some blinds that are not that hideous and that horrible, please, it's blessings upon blessings. 2021 is almost over. We made it. It's the longest, quickest year we've ever had in our lives. Blessed. Thank you so much, baby Jesus.
Amen.
Check out the comment right there, friend.
I know the best pepper jack cheeseburger in Clemson. I probably do as well, Spencer. Where do you think it is at, though? I'm actually kind of interested. Where does Spencer? Who is Spencer? He's been commenting like crazy.
Spencer's a super fan. We love Spencer.
He's probably Joey. Joey probably paid him because he keeps talking to Joey.
Well, all seriousness, because you're a jackass, I was going to say something nice, but I'm going to still say it. My sister Tracy's right there. If it wasn't for you, Clemson Tom, I don't think we would have a CTS right now. You know, with you, Stingray, Sanchez, Jacqueline, Tyler, you know.
That guy right there.
I want to, I know you got to go to bed, but I'm probably not going to see you to the new year. But I want to tell you, thank you for coming on the CTS, man. I love you, and I'm looking forward to June. And I'm going to hook up with you in June to Orlando. And with that said, man, we'll talk shit.
This is my last show. We're going to say that.
We're talking shit next year, but as a right,
this is my last show.
This ain't your last show. Shut up.
It is.
We'll talk shit.
This is my last show.
This is not your last show. Shut up.
Are we doing another show? No, I'm done. This is it.
Yeah, to 2022.
My contract for 2021 is ended. This is my last show.
Shut up. Anyways, Clemson Tom, you're out. I'll catch you later.
Thank you for letting me go to bed. I'm tired. I love you guys.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Love you, CT.
So, guys, all right. So now we can finally get to another guest that we have coming on, and he is actually from tigerbait.com. He is actually going to talk to Tyler and myself about all things LSU. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and bring him in here right now. He is the one and only Preston Guy. Preston, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Oh, I'm doing good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And I like the LSU flair that you got right there.
Oh, thank you. I had to upgrade my studio after my spat with Joey last time being on here. All that clout, I was able to upgrade my studio. So here we go.
Man, that's awesome. All right. So real quick, let me just go ahead and get your opinion now that you have had a little bit of time to digest. What are your thoughts on Brian Kelly coming to the Bayou?
Well, there's a theme with Brian Kelly, and it's long-term consistent winning with this program. We're not looking to turn anything around quick and have a miracle come around. He's looking to make long-term investments and moves for the program. His
Yes.
first week on the job, even us in the know in the media, we were freaking scared.
Yeah.
And I was hearing messages even from people who were still in the building saying, what the heck is he doing? Because for a week, you heard nothing from Brian Kelly and LSU. In fact, it was just bad news. And since he got the job, it has been an absolute roller coaster, which is kind of, poetic given the roller coaster ride LSU's program has been since Ed Ogeron, basically since Les Miles got fired. It's been an absolute roller coaster, just high highs, low lows.
Yes.
So the early vibes were kind of nothing but panic, truth be told. Max Johnson transferring, Jake Johnson decommitting. That's the number one tight end in the country. Many more decommitments. Elias Ricks entered the transfer portal, which of course yesterday he announced he was going to Bama, which is like the last thing you want to have happen.
Yes.
And it's just a lot of bads, but he brought in Frank Wilson, who's the head coach of McNeese State in Lake Charles, Louisiana, about 3 hours. It's right next to Houston, right? Well, Frank Wilson was the recruiting coordinator and running back coach under Les Miles for many years here at LSU and brought in some big name recruits and knows the state like very few do, which was one of the big inherent weaknesses with Brian Kelly is he doesn't know this state. He doesn't know the South. He's never really coached anywhere around here before. He's completely foreign, that's why people were making fun of his accent for so long. And before that happened, of course, there was about 3 cringe, like big internet cringe moments for Brian Kelly. Of course, he was dancing with Walker Howard, who is the number 1 quarterback in the country, 5-star player from Lafayette, about 45 minutes away from campus. And that got about 4 million views, but people were making fun of how tacky the video was, old white man dancing with the kid, right? But at the same time, we're talking about your 100 million, the most winning coach of any active football coach, right? In college football, the most wins among active college football coaches, dancing with a 5-star quarterback who some call the number 1 quarterback in the country. And 4 million people watched that. 4 million football fans watched it. Be tacky all you want. I mean, that's a huge deal. But then the video, him coming in, the family, where I think he just had a slip, wasn't really trying to fake an accent. I think he just butchered a word. It happens. So it was kind of this tumultuous thing. But today was his first big day. And there's more stuff coming out that happened today that nobody knows about yet.
Yes.
Today's a good day for LSU. So Miles and Miles. You might say miles and miles of good news. You got Miles Frazier, transfer offensive tackle, all-American offensive tackle from FIU, who has 3 years of eligibility left to play, by the way, and LSU desperately needs offensive linemen. That's a plug and play. You got your left tackle for next year. I might be mistaken, but given the amount of left and given the caliber of player he is, that might have been the best offensive lineman in the country. So huge pickup. Miles Brennan today announced he will return from LSU to finish a career that started with a commitment to Les Miles in 2016 and it will end in January of 2023 under Brian Kelly. And in between, just a global pandemic, Ed Ogeron's tenure, a national championship. So Miles Brennan come back is huge for a couple reasons because you got 2 young quarterbacks. You got Garrett Nussmeier and you got Walker Howard, who you would prefer to have a year to develop and stay healthy because Walker Howard is coming off a leg injury. That's the number 1 quarterback in the country I was telling you about. So having a guy like Miles Brennan who's familiar with the team, showed flashes of talent, if he can come in and hold it down for a year or even 10 games, that's best case scenario for LSU's quarterback room. They did not want to bring in a sophomore who will be here for multiple years and scare off a Walker Howard. You wanted a senior. That's perfect. So good for him. Good for Miles. It's starting to look better. for sure. And I think I'm hearing some buzz around the coordinator hires, and I think it'll pick up soon enough. And I think that Brian Kelly is taking his time to evaluate these coaches and make sure it's the right fit, not just rush them in to save some stupid recruit who might not like the coordinator anyways.
Right.
So it's long-term investments, making the right moves for the program. That's the theme. So we'll see.
Yeah, so I guess I was just kind of wondering also more about Brian Kelly, but like obviously he was the winningest coach in Notre Dame history. He had 106 wins. The thing that always kind of worried me about Brian Kelly was that when he played like the bigger teams, obviously he beat Clemson last year, but like his bowl record is 5-5, and only 2 of those are against ranked teams. The other 3 were unranked teams in the. So, do you think like the extra talent boost he's going to have at LSU is going to help him get over like the Bama hump, right? Because you got to compare to Bama every year if you're LSU.
Yeah. Well, and worth noting, the level of success LSU wants the coach to be, no coach LSU was going to hire has had that level of success. Because if you have that level of success, you're not you're not leaving. There goes my bow. That's a tradition every show, by the way. The bow on the stockings fall off. It's happened every single time since I picked up the Dead Soxy sponsorship. By the way, go buy some Dead Soxy socks, y'all. It's really cool stuff. Anyways, so yes, I think Notre Dame has some issues in the Midwest where it is tough to recruit speedy guys, which typically is what you win championships on. If you watch every one of those stages he got to the big stage against Bama or whomever, the team just did not have the Jimmies and Joes to keep up. So it was just not the case that recruiting at Notre Dame is different. You have to go national across the entire country and hope and pray that this Catholic connection really, really sells with them. And if it doesn't, it's a pretty tough to get kids to go to school there. And it's not like Notre Dame of the 80s. It's not like even Notre Dame of the 90s. It's fell off dramatically. And Brian Kelly, I mean, look, since Lou Holtz, Brian Kelly is the success of Notre Dame.
Yes.
So yeah, he got to those big stages, but I'm just not sure that he had the resources at Notre Dame to compete at that level against the Nick Sabans of the world. Okay. At LSU, talent, like fast players grow on trees around LSU. LSU needs help finding linemen. And that's what Brian Kelly's doing. One of Orgeron's problems with his recruiting classes, they always ranked really, really high, like top 5 on average last few years. However, between roster management and inequitable recruiting classes, you sign 25 players. I am firmly of the belief that you need to be able to. Someone said my sweater looks like static. It's a Christmas sweater, y'all. Just an odd cutoff. Anyways, you get 25 players. You should be able to field a football team with those 25 players.
Yes.
Every single year, you need a quarterback, running back or 2, 5 offensive linemen, no less than 4. Problem is, Orgeron and a lot of his classes couldn't find 2 guys, and they both were busts. So there's just 1 year where you get no offensive linemen. So he didn't really have well balanced out recruiting classes. So that's one thing that I'm hoping, and I do believe Brian Kelly will be able to make these decisions, get a better offensive line, do better in the trenches, get a more well-rounded recruiting class, stop getting, flashy 5-star DBs. Yeah, get them. But understand that you're going to get guys like that at LSU. Like, they're just going to be around. That's not what's going to win you a championship at LSU is the 5-star corner, because you're going to get a 5-star corner. It's DBU. This state is just absolutely loaded. So that's the hope, is that because of the recruiting, which, by the way, is probably the best recruiting soil in the country, that will elevate him to that next level. I just don't know that Notre Dame is a place that is very easy to consistently compete with the Bamas, the LSUs of the world. Worth noting, in his last 3 seasons, he had a 55-9 record his last 3 seasons. That's incredible. People were talking about how good Lincoln Riley's record was during his time at Oklahoma. I'm sorry, that's Brian Kelly's last 4 seasons is what I just said. Well, during that same span that Lincoln Riley's record was so good at Oklahoma, Brian Kelly quietly had a better record and 0 losses to unranked teams during that time span. So you were mentioning the bowl game losses. Well, recently he hadn't lost to any unranked teams, which sounds like music to LSU's ears because, quite frankly, LSU's problem hasn't been Bama. Although people think it is, it's Auburn, it's Mississippi State. Like, you got to win the games you're supposed to win. And that's what LSU has been struggling over the last few years. And that consistency is what fans just so desperately crave right now.
Mm-hmm. So I actually
the answer is, yeah, he did approve of this, by the way, but he did see this with a collared on. Mark Cumby's a big supporter of the LSU football fix on Tuesday nights. Appreciate you for coming in, Mark.
Okay. Go ahead, Tyler.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I actually had one more question. You were mentioning all the 5-star defensive backs. Obviously, LSU is famous for it. I debate you over DBU, but I just have to because I'm a Bama boy. But
so you're a Bama boy in a purple and gold sweater?
Proud Bama. That's a Viking sweater. Thank you very much. But
well, look, I didn't say who it was for. I just saw purple and gold, and I see you have Elias Ricks behind you in the background.
Yeah, I like it. But I was just kind of wondering, so Derek Stingley obviously is going to go to the draft this year, and it was supposed to be Jamar Chase before he opted out last year. Who do you think the next coveted number 7 is going to be for the team? Right, it's a big deal.
Man, that's a tough one. I'm trying to think here. I mean, it'd be Kayshon Boutte if he comes back. There's been some scuttlebutt that he might not return, but I mean, if you were going to give it to someone, it's definitely Kayshon Boutte.
Yeah, I saw him liking a lot of Bama tweets. All right,
I did see that too, but sometimes it do be like that. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. He went on a local radio show here and said he plans to be at LSU for the spring. So take it for what it's worth. I mean, kids say things all the time. Elias Rick's mom came out and said when he had the injury that this is not, I'm transferring. Well, off to Tuscaloosa.
Yep. Well, Preston, one quick little follow-up. Obviously, into January, LSU takes on Kansas State. Real quick, your prediction. Does LSU finish the season with a W over Kansas State in the Texas Bowl?
They play a bowl game? What?
Yeah.
That's crazy. There's football to be played still? I thought we were in the off season. It actually kind of has felt like a basically 10-week off season.
That sweater is in off season. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I'm sorry, who was that? Does anybody know who that guy is?
Yeah. Sorry about that. Anyway, so go ahead. Your prediction on
so bowl game. So obviously one of the big storylines in this bowl game is who will play quarterback for LSU. That is very uncertain right now because Garrett Nussmeier, the true freshman, has played in 4 games, and they have said they want to take a red shirt. Does he burn it? Well, last week the plan was no, but they are appealing to the NCAA to get 5th game waiver approved for whatever. I don't know. We'll have to see on that. To me, the 4-game waiver is pretty generous as is. So I'm not sure that they'll budge on letting him play a 5th game or not. Well, now that Miles Brennan's coming back, because remember before it was Max Johnson and Miles Brennan are transferring out, right? So it's kind of just you and the freshman kid. Well, now that Miles Brennan is there, if you want your chance to be the starter going in the spring ball, the assumed starter, you're going to have to go out and play and win a bowl game. So we'll see about that. And then people have asked about Miles Brennan. Miles Brennan will not play in the bowl game. He's not healthy yet. And even so, there's eligibility concerns for him getting a medical red shirt for this season. So just concerns all over the place there. And then on top of that, you don't have another quarterback in the room on your roster at LSU now. So you're going to have to go to the walk-ons. And it looks like Matt O'Dowd, freshman walk-on, is probably your most likely starter at quarterback for LSU in this bowl game. Not to mention the plethora of injuries we've still seen this season for LSU. Those are still going on. None of those guys have come back, and many of them have entered the transfer portal. So we'll see. They have a wide receiver, Jontre Kirkland, played some quarterback in high school, but far from like an SEC level. So that being said, Brad Davis, interim coach, is doing fine, I think, from all reports. He's been very popular. And of course he pulled in that big recruit today. So he's LSU fans' number one fan, right? LSU fans love them some Brad Davis right now for that. But
yeah, well, sorry,
it just seems like disarray. So if you have a walk-on quarterback, I can't really say LSU's got a great chance to win the ball game.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I hate to cut you off, Preston, but
hey, was that sweater red-shirted? Oh, I was wondering.
Joe, we got time for another sweater joke. I hate to cut you off, but
it was so funny the second time.
Yeah, I know.
So much funnier.
But I think we're out of time. So thank you so much for joining us here tonight.
Yes.
And best of luck to LSU in the Garbage Bowl or whatever they're playing in. The Texas Bowl, actually. But no, best of luck to them. And I hope that, I hope Brian Kelly has a good career with LSU. Thank you so much for joining
us. Man,
us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We love you, Preston.
Preston,
we love you, man. I just want to tell you we love you, man.
Thank you.
And I want to say one more thing. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you, Preston.
Happy holidays to y'all. Merry Christmas. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you, bud. So that is going to wrap up all of the interviews that we have today. And Joey, what in the world, man? I mean, that was...
What are you talking about? We got one more interview.
I know, but come on, dude.
Well, we got one more interview.
That's
why
right.
Am I on the screen? Put all of us on the screen.
I don't know. I don't know what you did, bro.
That's not me, man. That's you.
Okay, hold
good.
on.
Damn, I'm sexy.
Oh,
What's
I
up,
see. I
ladies?
see what I did. I see what I did. Okay, here we are. Oh, we got to bring back Sanchez.
Hey, Sanchez.
Joe wrinkled
man, that sweater was banging. I mean, I thought we lost reception. I was like, called a cable company on that motherfucker.
That dude gonna beat your ass when he sees you,
man.
Preston is a good sport, though. I will say
Preston
that,
is a good sport. Preston is a good guy, man. I like Preston. But
all right, so
you ready for the next interview so we can go drink some eggnog?
We got one more special for you guys, and it is actually one that Joey and myself did, and it is currently with the internet ESPN sensation Adam Rittenberg. So without further ado, here is what Adam Rittenberg had to say about the Big Ten, Michigan, and the 14 playoff earlier this week right here on the CTS. All right, guys, we have another huge guest here on the CTS, and he is ESPN's own Adam Rittenberg. And real quick, Joey, how excited are you to talk to Mr. Adam Rittenberg?
Man, every time we get these people from ESPN, it's always something special because, you get to see these people in person. But now, oh, man, this is a lifelong dream, man. So let's get it on.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's go on ahead and bring in Adam. Adam, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Doing great. Doing great, guys.
I got you. Well, since this is the holiday special, I would like to know real quick, what is your most favorite thing about the holidays and Christmas?
Oh, boy. Wow. I grew up in California mostly, but I lived in the Midwest here for more than 20 years. So I love the snow and the lights and, people, kind of bundling up and going outside and, we do sledding, all sorts of things with the kids. So it's the fun time of year.
Well, let me just go ahead and ask you this, going to football, because this is a really hot topic right now. All of the coaching carousels. Which coaching hire so far has surprised you the most?
Wow. I mean, certainly you didn't necessarily see Dan Lanning to Oregon coming right away, although he was definitely a prominent name in the Oklahoma search before it ultimately went to Brent Venables. Some of the other hires really did make sense. Even Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, he'd made a tremendous impression in his first year there, even though he'd only been there 9 months. And everything else was fairly understandable. Obviously you can add Lincoln Riley. If you're USC, you do it. Same to a degree with Brian Kelly at LSU. I think the number of coaches that moved from one Power 5 job to another without significant job pressure is significant. Normally we don't see that. That's one of the big misconceptions about the coaching carousel, is that guys move from Power 5 to Power 5 often. That is not the case, but it certainly was the case in this cycle, which is why it was so historic and so interesting.
Yes. Well, I wanted to also get your take, because you cover the Big Ten a lot. How huge was it earlier last month that Michigan got over the hump and finally won not one, but 2 big games against both Ohio State, and then turned around and did it against Iowa in the Big Ten championship game?
Yeah, it was huge. I was at the Ohio State game, and it's one of those days that we may remember as the turning point for that Michigan program, because Ohio State had been their biggest obstacle even before Jim Harbaugh got there in terms of winning the Big Ten, and to finally beat them the way they did, and it was definitive. It wasn't a fluky win. They were able to play the style that Jim Harbaugh's tried to have in place for a long time. And they did it in dominant fashion. And then, not having a letdown against Iowa, which is a team that can hang around and, create some takeaways and get the game to the fourth quarter. I mean, that game was over, pretty much by halftime. It just shows the maturity of this group. And, it shows that when the leadership at Michigan is right and they have players that are maxing out on what they can do, then they can be a really dangerous program, that they're not that far away, clearly from it being a championship program, because they were one this year. So yeah, definitely a day that we could look back on and say, that was when it all flipped for Jim Harbaugh and Michigan. Not to say they're going to beat Ohio State every year, but I think Ohio State has to view them a little bit differently after what happened to them on November 27th.
Yes.
How bad do you think the Wisconsin fans are going to miss Colin Wilder, knowing that he got injured and he's not going to get to play in the bowl game, and that's going to be his last game?
Yeah, it's certainly unfortunate. And, he had a nice season, part of a really successful defense at Wisconsin. And, this season, again, did not meet expectations, much like last season didn't meet expectations. So Wisconsin's kind of in a tricky spot here as far as where they're headed. They've never gone 2 years without making the Big Ten championship. Now they have. And so there's going to be even more pressure on that program in 2022 to find a way to get to Indianapolis. But yeah, definitely unfortunate for a guy like Wilder, who had a good career, to be ejected for targeting in his last game, and then unfortunately not be able to play the bowl game.
Now, as a fan, I'm just a football fan, so I gotta ask you. You've probably been asked this millions of times. What is the wildest game you ever covered in your professional career?
Oh boy. There's been I'm trying to think of games that you guys would know. I mean, certainly the Notre Dame USC game in 2005, the Bush Push game comes to mind. Covered some wild ones in the 2011 season. Michigan State beat Wisconsin on a Hail Mary. I was there for that. And then Ohio State beat Wisconsin on a Hail Mary. I was there for that. There's I was at the not the kick six game at Auburn, but the week before against Georgia when they won on that wild 4th down play. So we don't talk about that
kick six.
No, sure.
We don't talk about that.
But the one before, I was there for that. So that was certainly good.
Well, let's go back to Michigan just for a second, because obviously we talked about them getting over the hurdle, but both of those teams that they beat were in the Big Ten. Now, can they take it a step further and win a big game outside of the Big Ten? And do you think they can upset Georgia?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if they will, but I think that they're capable. Because of their strength along the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's how you have to beat Georgia is to try to match their strength. And I mean, Michigan can do that right now. Their offensive line is playing about as well as any group in the country. Their defensive line, if you throw Ojabo in there as a defensive lineman, even though he's listed as a linebacker, that's maybe the best pass rushing tandem in the country right now with Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo. So if they can put pressure on Stetson Bennett, we've seen that against the really elite teams, he has some limitations. And right now, Michigan's playing like an elite team. You do wonder, can Michigan win if their run game doesn't get going, because so much of their approach is to control the clock and tempo and grind out the opponent. Are they able to do that against a team like Georgia? That kind of remains to be seen. But Georgia, we just don't know how the Alabama loss will impact them. It could galvanize them and get them to play their best football down the stretch, or it could you could have a little bit of PTSD and then they lose to Michigan, then the season's over. And again, that would be a failure for Georgia. I mean, I've written about this a number of times. I know you and I, Stephen, have talked about it. Georgia is the biggest underachiever in my lifetime in college football. Part of that's a compliment because they are a program that's capable of winning a national championship. But I'm 40 years old, and they haven't won a national championship in my lifetime, which then in my mind makes them an underachiever. And if they don't do it this year, having been number one pretty much all season, that's going to be a real tough one for those folks in Athens and certainly for Kirby Smart.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, they're not going to do it this year. I got 3 last questions, and we're going to go back to back because I hear a dog barking, and obviously he's unprofessional. What do you think Manny Diaz is going to do at Penn State? How bad do you think Alabama is going to beat Cincinnati? And then I picked they're going to play Georgia in the national championship game. How bad do you think they're going to beat Georgia? And what are you going to do for Christmas holidays?
So what was the first question again? I got all the Alabama ones.
Manny Diaz.
What do you think Manny Diaz is
Manny
going to do at Penn State?
Yeah, it's an interesting hire, right? I think he'll do well. Manny, almost took the job at Temple, or did take the job at Temple, so he was at least willing to go work in that state once before, and now he will be. I'm sure a little reluctantly because he wanted to stay at Miami, but I think he's a guy that you certainly will connect with James Franklin. I think on a number of levels, his energy and the way he approaches recruiting. He's stepping in for a really good play caller in Brent Pry, but I like the trajectory of that Penn State defense, even though they'll lose some really key pieces. And I think this is a chance for, Manny has been down before. If you guys remember, was fired at Texas as a defensive coordinator once upon a time, and he rebooted his career at Mississippi State and then at Miami as their defensive coordinator. And so this is another chance for him to kind of get off the mat with a Penn State team that really aspires to be in the college football playoff conversation next year. And then regarding Alabama, I mean, shoot, if Bryce Young plays like that, I don't think anyone's going to beat them the rest of the season. I did pick Michigan to beat Georgia, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if Georgia wins the Orange Bowl and it sets up an all SEC championship game in Indianapolis. But it's interesting because Alabama. We saw the best of Alabama against Georgia, but we didn't see the best of Alabama for much of the season. So I'm curious to see if they'll just keep that pedal down like we expect them to in the playoff, or if some of the issues that cropped up at times during the year, especially in the Auburn game and A&M game and even the Arkansas game, the LSU game for sure on offense, whether that changes or that resurfaces in the playoff.
Well, the one thing is, like Coach Saban said, Alabama always gets the best game from every team, and especially being the toughest conference in the SEC. I think we saw a dominant Alabama team in the SEC championship, and I think now more than ever we're going to see a dominant team in Alabama. And one more thing, Stingray, I called it in the beginning of the season. I said Alabama's going all the way.
Yes.
Just want to let Adam know that. Anyway, Sting, go ahead and close us out.
Okay. All right, my last question for you is this. How surprised are you with the tradition that Nebraska has had that they decided to keep Scott Frost on for another year? That was a really big surprise to me.
Yeah, again, I think if it was almost any other coach, they would have made a change. But
Right.
I think there's an emotional component to firing Scott Frost. It's like firing a family member. It's firing a link to your past. And if all you have at this point is your connections to the past, it makes it a harder decision, even though it may have been the right decision. Now, looking at the overall coaching carousel, guys, it would have been another team in the market. Who are you going to get? Maybe some of the coaches that Trev Alberts would ultimately target wouldn't really be available this year. And so they're going to give Scott a chance to get it right with some new coaches on offense. I like the Mark Whipple hire for offensive coordinator, and we'll see what they do as far as the transfer portal at quarterback, with Adrian Martinez moving on. So, it sets up a very obvious situation next year, guys. They have to show some legitimate progress, not just on the field, but in wins and losses, or else he's going to be fired. I mean, he will have one of the hottest seats in the country, and it's very clear that they have to. And listen, we saw this with Jim Harbaugh to a degree last year, that he was given another chance, and look where it led them. But Nebraska's history suggests it's going to be very, very tough to come close to doing what Michigan did this year.
Well, Adam, look, man, we really want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. And real quick, going ahead and tell everybody where they can follow you, and going ahead and feel free to plug or give a shout out to anything, any articles that you are going to be writing here within the next few days.
Sure. Yeah, you can obviously find me at ESPN Plus on the ESPN website and college football page, and obviously on Twitter at ESPN Rittenberg. I got a new piece up about coaching grades for the first-year coaches, and I'll have another piece later this week on some of the top turnaround teams. Crazy from last year, guys. 4 teams that had losing records won their conferences this year, and that's maybe the first time ever in college football that teams went from a losing season to conference champion. That many teams, I should say.
Yes. Well, Adam, look, man, if you're going to any of the bowl games to cover them, please be safe and careful out there. And from all of us here, have a very happy and blessed Christmas.
All right, sounds good. Dog sounds excited. Yes. So appreciate you guys having me on.
All right, thank you.
You're the man, Adam. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Guys.
Well, guys, that is going to wrap up the interview there with Adam Rittenberg. Now let's go back and see what else is coming up here on the Christmas special. All right, and we are back, and I'm actually really going to thank Adam Rittenberg for joining us, and I want to apologize for all of the lengthy show that we've had here tonight, but we are taking.
Don't apologize. They were entertained. Whoa! They were entertained. They loved this show.
Absolutely. So, but we have gone our longest time. But Joey, I am going to throw you a quick little curveball. I would like for you to take it away and tell everybody who we have coming on here in the next month, in the month of January, sir.
Well, is this guy right here. We got Vince Papala coming to the 3rd and 3 show, the first of the year, January 4th. We got Vince Papala. It's a very exciting interview. A guy we interviewed on the CTS a year ago, back when I first started, back when I was using my cell phone as a camera. He's the coolest guy I ever met. I mean, this guy is top of the line, the coolest guy ever in the history of ever. And he's going to tell you what was real, what was not real in the movie. And, he's doing a lot of great things in life, and we can't wait to have him back on.
Well, guys, I want to do this real quick. Obviously.
How quick?
No, like 2 minutes or less. 3rd and 3 is going from Chris Lowe to Vince Papala. That's pretty big, going from year 1 to year 2. Jacqueline, what is coming up for you in 2022 right here on the CTS. And she's muted.
I love a woman who you can't hear.
All right, while we try to fix that, Tyler, let's go to you because you are actually a new member here, and you also have a brand new show coming on. Tell everybody
Sunday
about it.
Yes, sir. Like Joey said, it's starting Sunday. It's a Sunday night scoreboard. It'll be in between the afternoon and night games for the NFL. It's with me, good friend of the shows, Joe Will and Clacker. We're going to be talking about basically whatever's happened in the NFL throughout the week, some hot takes that are coming up, covering. I know we want to talk about Urban Meyer because I called it. He was the first one fired. But yeah, so it's starting this Sunday. You'll catch us every Sunday for football season. And then once football's over, we're going to transition to baseball, basketball, whatever else is on. So I'm really excited to get that started and just be doing stuff with the CTS.
Yeah, and don't forget our show, Rolling with the Tide, is coming back. Tyler and me going to be Batman and Robin. I guess I'm going to be Robin. Tyler's going to be Batman.
Ooh.
So that's looking forward to. But you know, one thing I love more than college football is boxing. One more Sanchez. Take it away.
This year's gonna be a good one. We already got stacked up 10 interviews. We got Steven Galliano, Jose Benavidez Sr. He'll be on, and hopefully we can get David Benavidez soon to announce his next fight that's coming up.
Jacqueline, are you back there with us?
Bing bong.
Nope.
All right. Well, she's got to give her one more chance. Jacqueline, are you
Let's
here?
try that one more time.
Yeah, there you go, baby.
There
you go.
Okay, so real quick.
Coming
what-
January, criminal athletes, where we highlight athletes who have gotten onto the wrong side of the law. We will be starting our first episode with Blade Runner, South African Paralympian, and it's Oscar. Let's try this one more time, because I'm terrible with his last name. It's Oscar Pistorius.
Okay.
He is a South African Paralympian who gunned down his girlfriend on Valentine's Day, and I'm going to tell you all about it.
That's impressive. So, guys, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that are going to be coming up, a lot of great content in the year 2022. So, guys, before we go, is there anything else that you would like to say about the year 2021?
Well, Spencer wants us not to forget
A&M
bass
beats
fishing.
Alabama. That's all I gotta say.
Man, shut up. Bama's bass fishing team updates. How was that barbecue, Sanchez?
It was dry as shit, but we don't. I'm from Texas, everybody. This food bought turkey. Nobody bought Texas. We don't eat turkey, bro.
I didn't buy no turkey.
You bought some turkey.
Did I? I don't.
Yes,
that's StubHub's fault, not mine. I gave you ribs and pork and brisket.
Jacqueline, what about you? You got anything to say about 2021?
Oh, I'm so glad it's about to be over.
Yes.
It's been a year, man. It's been a year.
Well,
Ready for another year with you guys.
Tyler, you got anything to say?
Nah, basically the same. Glad it's over. The longest short year, I believe Clemson Tom said. And I kind of agree. Feels like it went by in a flash, but also took forever. So I'm excited for the opportunities of 2022.
Well, I'm going to go ahead, Sting. I'm going to close. Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to because I want to say one more thing, and then I'll turn it over to Joey. From all of us here at the CTS Sports Room, and especially from me to all of you guys right there, and then, of course, Clemson Tom, who left earlier, I hope all of you have a very blessed holiday season and a very Merry Christmas. Joey.
Well, with that said, I'm going to say this, ever since I started this, this CTS interview room was made just for, do a little interviews and so I can do a little commercials, for a store I opened for my mom. Come 2022, this is going to be the third year that I've lost my mom. And, CTS is something that I do. Yeah, it's fun and it's exciting, but the C stands for Carolyn, and I really do miss my mom, and you know, I like to keep this going for as long as I can in honor of her. And of course, since then, I've met people from all over the world, from Europe, from Asia, from Australia. I mean, I made some great friends with Clemson Tom, Jacqueline, Stingray, one of my best friends. I got to meet a young man like Tyler. I know he's going to do good things, not just in the CTS, but when he starts his career. You know, Sanchez, me and him been cool for almost a year now. I mentioned Clemson Tom. You know, we talk trash over the on camera, but behind the scenes, we're good friends. And then of course we got Joe Will and Clacker. You know, since we started, you know, we had some ups and downs, and you know, we had people come in try to cheat us, and we had people who wasn't on board. But this team you see right here is the team that I think is going to really take us to the top. And I want to say, if it wasn't for Stingray, if it wasn't for one man more Sanchez, it wasn't for Jacqueline, it wasn't for Clemson Tom, and it wasn't for Clacker and Joe Will, we wouldn't have a CTS. I'm only a minor portion of this this YouTube page, this Twitter page, but these 8 other guys are the backbone of this channel. And I just want to say to all 8 of you, I love you. And I mean that if y'all ever need anything from me, consider it done. I hope I can do it for you. If I can't, I'll try. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, this was the CTS Christmas special. This was the Stingray Christmas special. And we hope you had a good time. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out.
Pee on me, beat me.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.